Yo, what's up, everybody? It's Rick from Only Football. We are bringing you another episode today. We're going to do top five, top five, top five, followed by week 16 predictions. Hold up, wait. I'm Rich, bitch, and fantasy talk. Stay tuned. What's up?
Is going on? We got some really good stuff. I'm gonna just say this right now. We have 14 playoff games this week. 14
Yeah, we do.
Playoff games. Only 2 games out of 16 mean absolutely nothing. We're gonna get into it. How are you doing, Rick? It's so good to see you again.
Yeah, man, it's good to see you as well as all the people viewing. I know I missed Monday's episode, but like you said, Christmas duty calls. It's that time of year. You got to get with the family, and that means sometimes making an airport run, but I'm glad you held it down for Only Football.
Hell yeah, man. We got some snow too. We got a lot of snow. It's made it hard for people to get to work and stuff, so that's good.
That'll be fine.
It's good for me. They're like, hey, don't risk it. Just stay home. I'm like, oh, are you serious? I wanted to work today.
Oh, no.
All right. So the first game, let's see. Let's do this in order because I know I said last week, oh, we got Saturday football. It's an anomaly. Well, this week we have like 10 games on Saturday because Christmas is on Sunday.
I know.
So we'll start with the Thursday night game. This game has become really, really important all of a sudden. It's the Jaguars at the Jets. The Jaguars, it's important for them because they have pretty good momentum right now where if they can win out and beat Tennessee, we talked about it 2 weeks ago, and now it's a reality. If they can beat Tennessee, they can get into the playoffs. And the Jets, their head coach after that loss to Buffalo confidently said, we'll see them again. Then they follow that week up by dropping to Detroit. So now it's now or never time for Detroit or for the Jets. And one of these teams has to win. Who do you think will?
This one was a little tough for me, although I feel like it shouldn't be because the Jaguars have been playing really well lately. They beat the Cowboys last week, a team that has obviously playoff aspirations, but more than that, Super Bowl aspirations, right? But the Jaguars beat the Cowboys, man, and the Jaguars have just been playing really well. It seems like Trevor Lawrence is kind of getting there as a quarterback. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people earlier this year were like, wow, it seems like Justin Fields, not to toot the Bears' own horn, but it seems like Justin Fields should have been the number one pick. And it's obviously you can say that with hindsight, but Trevor Lawrence has played really, really well. And it's starting to look like he's making those strides of like that generational quarterback talent that you want, like a Tom Brady, a Drew Brees, a Peyton Manning type of progress. So I'm going to go with the Jags at this one. Obviously they are in New York or New Jersey, wherever that Jets stadium's at. But I'm going to go with the Jags on this one. I think they take it. I think it's a close game up until about the fourth quarter, and the Jaguars just open it up, win by 2 scores.
Yeah, and Trevor Lawrence is, I saw a stat like since week 7, he is been playing at the highest level of any quarterback in QBR and stuff like that. I will say though, Jacksonville has had problems, it seems like, playing 4 full quarters of football. They're either behind early and trying to catch up, and that's pretty much usually the story. You look at the Detroit offense, and they're ranked 3rd, I think, overall right now. Kansas City, Buffalo, Detroit. And you saw they had 13 points with 5 minutes left, but they had a punt return. So really the offense only able to put up 6 points against Detroit. To me, I'm gonna take the Jets just because they're at home.
Yep.
And that defense, I do think it's going to be really difficult for the Jaguars. And if they can keep this a low scoring game and just use that home field advantage for them, it's a heartbreaker. It's a heartbreaking loss
Yeah.
for the Jaguars, but whoever loses this game, it's going to be a heartbreaker. I'm going to go with the Jets at home, using that defense to just barely get by, and hopefully they'll have Mike White back. I do think they're a better football team with Mike White. Zach Wilson made a lot of really clutch throws, but Mike White overall, I think, gives the Jets the best chance to win. So that is our Thursday night game. That'll be an amazing live stream. We'll have that game. Let's move on to Saturday. We got quite a bit of an important
Christmas
football.
Eve.
Christmas Eve, yes, sir. We got the Atlanta Falcons at Ravens. And this game seems, for the Ravens, seems really important because Cincinnati right now, I think AFC North is pretty much wrapped up. Cincinnati's gonna take that. But if the Ravens want to keep their hopes alive, they have to win out, and hope Cincinnati, I think, loses one. I think they got a 1-game lead. I'll look back into that. But the Falcons only 1 game back right now at 5-9 from the division. So usually what you would have is a bad division in football. All 3 of those teams would be playing for nothing as of 4 weeks ago. But when the division leader is only 6-8, or has a one more game win, 1 win more, then all of a sudden all of the shitty teams are playing meaningful football, which is great because that delivers a better product to us. So I think the Falcons are going to try to give them their best shot. I mean, it must feel good to be 5-9, knowing you can get into the ticket, get into the dance, and anything can happen. So I'm going to take the Ravens with Lamar Jackson eyeing his return here, but I expect the Falcons to give them their best shot, and the Ravens have been really kind of just bad lately. So I don't feel good about it. I don't feel good about it.
No, and I don't either. I'm also taking the Ravens in this one, and I hope Lamar Jackson makes his return because this Ravens team looks like straight crap without him. It just looks bad, dude. It looks bad without him. Tyler Huntley, for whatever reason, they just run the offense the same as they would as if Lamar Jackson was in the game with Tyler Huntley, and it just doesn't end up being the same thing, obviously, right? J.K. Dobbins looks like he is just struggling to run. He still gets over 100 yards, but he looks like he has no legs under him anytime he comes off the field. He's just struggling, right? And then the Falcons, the Falcons have just been kind of like on a downward slide ever since, again, that Carolina game. Really, it was just like, oh, the Falcons look pretty good, and then that Carolina game happened, and it was like, no, not that good. Actually, they're pretty bad. So Ravens at home, with or without, or it depends on if they're with or without Lamar Jackson. If this is going to be like a big win or somewhat of a close game. He did miss his 8th straight practice, so that's not looking good. It is Wednesday already, but they got until Friday. So we'll see what happens. And then real quick in the comments, I want to say what's up to Liam Wolf. What's up, Liam?
What up?
Thanks for joining us here on Only Football. But yeah, I got the Ravens, man.
Yeah, and we'll see. 9-5, they still could potentially say, hey, forget about winning the division. We're just going to rest Lamar until he's actually healthy. We'll win our last 2 games, and we'll be in at 11-6. So they can thank themselves for starting the season so strong. But it does feel like, what good is it to get to the playoffs if you have no momentum while you get there? So you mentioned the Panthers game. Panthers fighting for that terrible division. They're still alive, but the Lions are the hottest team in football right now, maybe besides the Bengals. And it was funny because I've been saying for weeks that the Lions are the Bengals of the NFC. And now they are very comparable at this point in the year. And I expect the Lions to not fall into any kind of trap game here. I get the Panthers are going to go do their thing, but I think the Lions are playing on another level right now, and I think it's going to carry them in. I think they have the most favorable stretch to end the season, and I don't have them losing for the rest of the year.
Really? You got them winning out?
I got them winning out, yeah.
Oof. So then obviously you got the Panthers. or you've got the Lions, sorry, against the Panthers, and I've got them as well. I got them as well in this game. The Panthers looked really damn good for a few weeks there, but the Lions have just looked just so much better. Their defense has actually stepped it up a lot. Their offense is playing as well as a lot of people expected coming into the season with the amount of weapons that they have, right? Amon-Ra St. Brown seems to be a little healthier now, which was not a huge issue, but was an issue at the beginning of the season. His mind, he's probably like playing like a top 5 quarterback right now, I think. And, he's just making this Lions offense look exactly how, Dan Campbell wanted it to look. It just looks good. It looks really, really good. Jared Goff was a first round pick for a reason, and he's starting to show why. The Panthers have a really good defense. They can get some stuff going on the offense. If DJ Moore and Darnold can really get that connection early in the game, I think their rushing is pretty good, but I can't see them beating the Lions. And, again, Darnold solid with DJ Moore going downfield, but I think this Lions team is too much for them. The Lions beat the Panthers in Carolina.
Yeah, and you mentioned Jared Goff being a first round pick. I think it's kind of for the elder coaches in the NFL, it's kind of an eye opener about what can happen to a quarterback when there's not a lot of pressure on him and you just let them develop. Like, how many times have we seen people just be like, Jared Goff, we know what he is. I mean, when he was in the Rams, his career could have been over. In Detroit, they had him for a whole year, right? They only win one game, and they go into the offseason, and you would think that this is like, hey, we have to address the quarterback. But no, they stick with him, and now he's playing at a ridiculously highest level of his career. And that's just cool to see once in a while that a player, when you've kind of already written him off, doesn't write back other than Geno Smith.
You can only do that if you're Geno.
Well, we'll move on to your favorite game. This is the Chicago Bears at home taking on the Buffalo Bills, who right now need a couple wins. Let's see, they got a 1-game lead on Cincinnati. So there's still something to play for Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
And Chicago may not have Justin Fields, correct?
No. He should be playing. I don't think there's anything that's held him out for this week coming up.
Okay.
The only thing I know is the fact there's the weather in Chicago for this Saturday.
What was determined his injury? He left the game.
He Eagles, left. Right? Did he leave the game? No, I don't think he left the game. He did have he left the game at one point for one play, one offensive play. Nathan Peterman came in, had an incomplete pass. The defense came out, and then after that, the next offensive series was Justin Fields. I think it was a shoulder though. He was dealing with a bit of a shoulder injury.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure about that. So I'll let you take the floor. This is your team. What do you? I don't think you're gonna say anything that's gonna change my mind about this, but
yeah, so the weather is a thing, and we'll kind of get into that later when we talk about when we go into our hold up weight segment. The weather is definitely one of those things that is gonna affect this game. Who it's gonna, I guess, be in favor of it depends. But what I do know is that the Bills are playing really well right now, and they're trying to get that number 1 seed in the AFC, and that's what they've been wanting since the beginning of this year. That's what Josh Allen wants. Honestly, that's what this team wants, and they're playing like it too. So I have them beating the Bears in this one. The defense is going to be too good. The weather is going to be a huge factor. Who knows if there's going to be really any passing game for either team. But I just want to. I just can't see the Bears winning this one, even at home, even with bear weather as it's supposed to be. But yeah, I mean, I've got the Bills winning, and to be honest, like, I don't even care anymore. Like, if the Bears, the only thing I want to see is Justin Fields and this offense get a little bit better, more in rhythm. Him just maybe breaking the rushing record for a quarterback, right?
Right.
Lamar Jackson's record. That would be really cool. But I know that they are number 2 in the draft right now. and I would like for them to keep a top 3 pick.
So they can get a quarterback.
Chill. To either, give it up, trade down, whatever the deal may be, or to draft an edge rusher who's going to make a huge difference on that defense.
Yeah, I agree. I got the Bills winning this game. And credit the schedule makers, because you talk about something to play for, still trying to get a first seed, first round bye in the playoffs. We probably won't know the answer to that until next week's Monday night game. Bengals play the Bills, and that game, pending 2 wins this week, will be for that first seed. So it's just an incredible kind of matchup. But if the Bills drop one to the Bears, it kind of screws it all up for that game. So we'll see if the Bears can pull out a miracle. I thought they played the Eagles pretty tough, but this is you're asking them to do it twice in a row. I don't know. I just feel like this one might get ugly, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right, so next game is going to be the New Orleans Saints at Cleveland Browns. Browns look like Deshaun Watson, I think it was late in the third quarter, finally had a drive where he looked like his self before. The Browns were able to beat the Ravens. Saints obviously playing in that division that we keep harassing today. This is you take this one. I don't even know what to make of this Browns Saints game.
I don't either. And I mean, the Browns, they beat the Ravens 13-3 last week. It wasn't even a convincing win. Deshaun Watson he looked okay. There's nothing to be excited about this game unless you're literally a Saints or Browns fan. Like, you just want to win. I think just for the season, you just kind of want that morality win, just to kind of hype the players up. I think I have the Saints in this one, man. I can't take the Browns. They've shown nothing. Deshaun Watson has had one good game in 3 weeks or 2 weeks so far. And I think the Saints, a better established team, although I don't see them blowing the Browns out. I see somewhat of a similar game that the Browns had against the Ravens last week, where it's really like a 1-score game, pretty much through 3 quarters, and maybe there's like a garbage time touchdown in the 4th quarter. I don't really trust Andy Dalton. I mean, Chris Olave is questionable. I don't think he either had a limited practice or didn't practice at all. The Browns, Nick Chubb has been struggling. I think the passing game for the Browns has been struggling quite a bit. Again, only 13 points against the Ravens last week. And, I'm taking the Saints, man. I don't think the Browns can win it at home against the more established Saints team, but that's not even saying much at this point.
Yeah, I'm actually going to take Cleveland in this game. And one thing for the Saints, they were 7th in the last 3 games in the amount of points they allow. And then last week, they only surrendered, I think, 18 to Atlanta. So they are playing decent defense, right? And Cleveland struggling offensively. But I'm looking at the end of that Cleveland game, and I'm thinking this is something that they can build on going into this game. And I think you start seeing Deshaun Watson play some vintage football that he's maybe capable of still. And I think he's just going to be the best player on the field. That's what I'm pretty much betting on here. So I'm going to go Cleveland at home to take that win. Our next game is the Seattle Seahawks at Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs, if you're a Chiefs fan, you always feel good because you got Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, but you don't have a warm and fuzzy going into the playoffs. It just probably feels like another year where they're like, we could say every year they have Patrick Mahomes, they're going to go 11 or 12 wins probably, but who cares if it doesn't result in anything? Like, how many times did Brett Favre, take his team into the playoffs and then, lose in the
fizzle
playoffs?
Out pretty much. Yeah.
And that's kind of like the Aaron Rodgers thing. And hopefully it doesn't become the Chiefs thing, but you look at their 27-0 halftime lead against Denver, and then Denver crawls back into the game, makes it 21-27. That doesn't make you feel good. You see all these weaknesses on defense that teams can exploit, even bad offenses like the Broncos. And then the next week It takes the defense to step up in overtime against the Texans, who have one win in the freaking season. And the Texans, they played the Cowboys tough the week before, but it doesn't matter. None of that matters. You got to beat the teams that have one win by the time you're in week 16. And it's kind of no real pass on that. So I think Kansas City really needs to have a convincing win. And I think here's the thing. They're at home, and they haven't been at home for a month. And I think they might just be a team that plays different at home. And I think this may be exactly what the doctor ordered for this team. And I have them rolling the Seahawks.
Oh, really? You got them rolling at home?
Yeah.
Wow. I want to stick up for the Chiefs against that in that Houston game. What I want to say is like difficult because the difference between the Chiefs barely beating the Houston Texans and like the Vikings this year is like the Vikings have not had a successful season like the Chiefs had. The Chiefs can do that against one-win teams and not necessarily be as scrutinized for it as like a team like the Vikings, because the Chiefs are just good and they can do that. Again, what did we say about them against the Chargers, right? They were down 2 scores going into like the second half. And you see that. And if you've got Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, you're the Chiefs, you could just be like, okay, yeah, this isn't a huge deficit really to overcome if you're a Chiefs fan and you got Patty Mahomes, right?
Right.
So I don't want to necessarily like give them hell for almost losing to the Texans, because I mean, they're bound for a week like that, right? I mean, the Chiefs can only sustain that consistent success for so long before it's like, okay, it's week 15. Like we've got an 11-win record or this or that. Right. And whatever, we may not be playing our best football this week against the Texans, but we're still going to make the playoffs and we're still consistently good. So either way, I'm taking the Chiefs to win this. I don't know if they're going to roll the Seahawks just because it is later into the season and we saw what happened in Houston. But on the other end of the spectrum, they could easily be like, we saw what happened. Let's not go into this game as like sure of ourselves that we're going to win this game. Right. So just to hit the comments here in a bit, Liam heard that Trace McSorley is starting. Don't know if that's true. Then he goes on to say he's not even on the Ravens. Not sure why people are saying that. You're right. He is not on the Ravens, Liam, but he is on the Cardinals, and Colt McCoy is out. But we will get to that game a little bit later. We got Antonio Tony. That's one of my uncles. What's up, guys? Sorry to interrupt, but fuck the Packers. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. Because Kyle's got his Packers gear and his family, who is huge Green Bay fan. So, thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that.
Sorry, it's
Kyle's bringing Packers news.
It got kind of cold in here.
Oh God. There
we go.
Those are the most disgusting colors I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, let's move on.
I'll tell you really quick. I had to get these for the game that I went to against Minnesota last year, and I packed them away, and it finally got cold here, so I was digging for some gloves, and they still had the hand warmers packed inside from the game.
He said, hell no. Good. He took them off. He took them off. All right, our next game, we have got the Giants going into Minnesota, taking on the Vikings. We got Skull. Giants and Vikings. Giants came off a very, I want to say, questionable win against the Commanders on a Sunday Night Football, and then the Vikings had a very exciting win against the Colts. But who do you have? Giants, Vikings in this week?
I had the Vikings. The Giants and the Commanders, I don't think they're that great, and I really hope both of them miss the playoffs because I don't want to see them play in the playoffs. But I think the Vikings look, they got to a bad start. I'm sure that that's what they've been hearing about all week is start fast. And the Vikings have played in a lot of close games, but they've also, Kirk Cousins, I think, leads the NFL right now in winning touchdown drives. So the Vikings are going to play in a lot of close games. I wouldn't even exclude this from it. But if it's week 16 and you only have 3 losses, that means that you're a good football team. Like if you were a faker, you would have been exploited by now. Like the Jets, like the Seahawks, even like the Giants. So I'm going to go with the team that is at least we know for real better than the Giants.
Yeah,
Justin Jefferson, baby.
Yeah, man, JJ's so good. I'm gonna have to go with the Vikings too. The Giants had a lot of help from the refs on Sunday Night Football. They're not a very consistent team, although they have shown that they're pretty resilient in the last couple of weeks. But I can't see the Giants beating the Vikings, especially after the Vikings came back from 33-0 at halftime. The Vikings are just getting these types of wins, man, this year, and it might be their year. It might not. With the way games have been going this year, it seems to like plays are going their way, but the Giants are going to need a lot of help from the refs, I think, again this week to kind of, get a win, if even in Minnesota. So I'm taking the Vikings as well. Yeah, I just can't see Daniel Jones and Saquon doing this all on their own. Although their defense against the Commanders was really good. Thibodeau, oh man, he was amazing against the Commanders on Sunday.
And the Giants going into that Commanders game were ranked 32nd in their previous 3 games in points allowed. They were the worst defense in points allowed the last 3. So that was a big, they stepped up big time in that game. But the Commanders offense is not the Vikings offense. So I am expecting the Vikings to kind of pick apart the Giants on defense, and we'll see if Daniel Jones has it in him to try to keep it a ball game, but I can see this one kind of being in control in the third quarter. All right. So we have perhaps one of the hottest teams in the NFL, the Cincinnati Bengals, taking on Mac Jones and the Patriots coming off of a game where they were tied. And I think, hey, remember when the LeBron was in the finals and what was it? I forgot his name. He didn't know how much time was left, and he didn't
something Smith Jr.
J.R. Smith.
Yeah.
I feel like the Patriots thought that they were down a touchdown.
They did the opposite of what J.R. Smith did.
Yeah. I was like, bro, you guys can just take a knee and go into overtime. Like, this isn't it. It's like somebody told them, like, this will be your last play ever. So that is probably, that will go down in history as just probably the most embarrassing way to lose. I mean, just in all aspects.
It's top.
That is a blemish on Belichick's career.
It really is.
All right, so I got the Bengals winning this game. I think the Bengals are continuing to have something to play for, not just the division, only a 1-game lead on the Ravens, but if they can win and Buffalo can manage to lose a couple, now we're talking home field advantage, and I think that is really, really big because the Bengals have shown that they can beat the best teams in the AFC, where Kansas City has shown that they can't. So I think the Bengals want to play a game at home. They don't want to go to Kansas City. They don't want to go to Buffalo. These are really important. You got to take care of business against the Patriots, who don't have a lot to love. You can make an argument they're the worst 500 team in the NFL right now. Less touchdown passes than the Broncos for the Patriots. So Russell Wilson, more bathrooms in his house than Patriots passing touchdowns. I'm going to go with the Bengals. Joe Burrow had 4 touchdown passes in the second half last week. I mean, the Bengals, what no one's talking about is how underrated that defense is playing. They forced 4 turnovers on Tom Brady, tying his career high. The Bengals are playing good football on all aspects, special teams, defense, offense. I wouldn't want to play the Bengals right now, especially a Patriots team that has nothing good going for them.
Dude, how embarrassed are you to be Mac Jones right now after just getting stiff armed by Chandler Jones as he walked into the touchdown
Sit
on that
down.
Raider? He literally just put his hand, bam! Look,
Yeah.
point of POV, you're Mac Jones, and this is Chandler Jones's hand. That's what happened, man. He got absolutely just
Manhandled.
embarrassed. Kind of like Chris Connie got embarrassed by Derrick Henry a few years ago when he just stiff armed the absolute living hell out of him on the sidelines. That was Mac Jones. He was Chris Connie, and Chandler Jones was Derrick Henry. I'm also taking the Bengals in this. They're playing amazing football. They're playing really, really, really well. Pirine. I don't know. I forget how to pronounce his last name. Pirine doing really well. Joe Mixon may be back this week. I'm not entirely sure. But even if they do, that's just an added bonus for the Bengals. They're playing really well. Like you said, their defense is playing extremely well. It doesn't look like Joe Burrow and these guys are going to slow down anytime soon. The only caveat I will put out there is after that loss, I feel like Bill Belichick is going to want this win so bad that he is going to, if need be, he will pull Mac Jones out again and throw in Bailey Zappi. It'll be Zappi hour for the Patriots. And who knows how that'll go. But I will say with that caveat, I still think the Bengals win. But again,
Yeah.
Bill Belichick doesn't want to lose this game after the embarrassing loss he suffered in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I would say Zappi or Mac Jones. Like this isn't the Bucks where you can, take out him and throw Zappi in. It's like if he sparks something, we'll win. Like this is the Bengals where if you're making a quarterback change in the middle of the game, like it's already too late, in my opinion. So, all right, we'll go to another game where the Titans are going to be at home taking on the Texans. Texans 1 win on the season. They do have a tie, but they are the first overall pick right now. The Tennessee Titans have dropped a large amount of games. I don't have the stat, probably 7 of their last 9, something like that. They are pretty bad, but as of right now, if they can win out, they can be in the playoffs and represent the AFC South. But the Jaguars are playing better. They're playing hotter, and they're probably thinking it's only a matter of time before we put you in your place week 18. So Titans at home, got the crowd involved. I'm going to take the Titans to win this game. It's going to be good for, that week 18. It's going to build some suspense into that game. The Titans did play really tough against the Chargers last week, but Justin Herbert just did some stuff with his arm that few can do. So I'm going to go with the Titans to beat the Texans. But the Texans, you got to be careful with them because they're playing really good football right now. If they can play like that against the Cowboys and then play like that against the Chiefs, I have no reason to believe that they can't beat a Titans team. But I'm going to tell myself that they are exhausted all their energy on those two teams, and they're going to come into this game perhaps tired. I don't know. I'm just going to go with the Titans.
I disagree. I think this is the week the Texans get a win against the playoff caliber team against the Titans. I don't know what it is. They were close against the Cowboys. They were close against the Chiefs. They have been close. They have been on the cusp of a win here, and I don't think it doesn't matter what the Texans do the rest of this year. They're probably getting the number 1 pick in the NFL draft unless they win out and the Bears just lose out and then the Bears have a number 1. That would be exciting. But I'm taking the Texans to actually beat the Titans. The Titans have looked bad. Like you said, they've lost 85% of their games, in the latter half of the season. They look bad. Derrick Henry is probably going to run all over the Texans, but the Texans have just found ways to score and score early. The only problem I see the Texans having is like containing Derrick Henry, because I think they'll be fine against Tannehill and that offense, but I think they're going to have a tough time containing Henry, but I think they'll do enough to take a win. It'll probably be by a field goal if I had to guess, but I'm taking the Texans to beat the Titans at home in Tennessee.
Okay. And that's pretty, I mean, I don't think you're crazy. I'll just say that. Like I can get on board with that. So we'll see. One of these teams is going to lose. We'll figure it out. Our next game is the Commanders, who obviously kind of gut wrenching there at the end with the
Mhm.
penalty and then the pass interference. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't be in that position that late in the ball game. So I'm going to say they still lost the game just because they were losing by a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. So we can't forget that. The
True.
49ers probably, they are the best defense in the NFL, but probably found a hidden gem in Brock Purdy. He
Mhm.
is everything I think Shanahan wants. And really quick, I'm going to say this. If you look at Kyle Shanahan, like one of the things that people critique with him is that he doesn't like when quarterbacks kind of get out of the box and start doing their own thing, like Patrick Mahomes and stuff like that. He really wants the quarterback to stay in the system. He's like, the play is designed. If everybody does exactly the right thing, it'll be there. And I think he likes that about Brock Purdy, is that he is very submissive to everything Kyle Shanahan wants him to do. And I think it's working out for the 49ers. I think Commanders are going to be desperate for a win, trying to stay in the playoffs, holding a playoff spot. But I do think that the 49ers at home, that's just way too much to ask for the Commanders. And the 49ers, they are not just trying to like make it to the playoffs safe, right? If they can become a second seed, then they play worse opponents in the playoffs. So I think they do want to be a 2 seed, and they're gonna do whatever they can to try to take that from the Vikings, because right now the Vikings have a 1-game lead on the 49ers. But after this week, who knows? I bet a lot of 49er fans are going to be cheering on the Giants this week.
Yeah, I'm also taking the 49ers in this. The Commanders had a heartbreaking loss. Again, on Sunday Night Football against the Giants, they just got screwed over, I think, in my opinion, right? And the 49ers, like you said, they found a very I don't know what you said, submissive. I want to use another word, but he knows what the play is and he focuses on it. He knows that he has the time to make the play, because of that offensive line that the 49ers have. And he's able to just execute the play as perfect as like you're saying, the head coach wants, right? Like he's just doing it, man. And it's tough to find a guy like that, especially with Shanahan, right? Like he wanted to make Trey Lance a thing. He got hurt, right? And he's like, all right, well, I got to go with Jimmy G. No, Brock Purdy seems to be the guy. So they killed the Seahawks. They scored 3 touchdowns in a row before the Seahawks even scored, or maybe they scored like a field goal. This defense is playing really well. The 49ers in general are just very, very good. Brock Purdy might lead them into the playoffs, and just luckily can be able to kind of rest assured that he's got a lot of talent around him that will back him up if need be. Like it won't just have to be the Brock Purdy show, kind of like it is with Mahomes, in Kansas City. But yeah, I'm taking the 49ers to beat the Commanders this week. And I think that's a pretty easy pick. The Commanders just, Tyler Heinicke is good. Again, we've kind of talked about what sort of like emotional, thing he brings to the game whenever he starts the game. He looks like a guy who wants to win every single time. And, obviously they're competitors, but Taylor Heinicke looks like he wants to win every time because he's like, I want to be the guy. I want to be one of those guys, right, in Washington. So They're doing well, but the 49ers are just going to be too much for them to handle. So yeah, I got the 49ers in this, easy.
Yeah, and also like those emotional elements, like he brings an emotional kind of advantage, whatever. Like that stuff works in certain brackets. Like that'll work against the Giants, that'll work against, the Steelers and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get into this bracket, like pure emotion and leadership sometimes doesn't just pull you through. That's why Tim Tebow got destroyed by the Patriots in the divisional round. The emotion, we could beat the Steelers in the wild card, but the emotion eventually only can take you so far. So
God said, I've actually got the Patriots in this one, brother. Sorry. Real quick before we move on, I just want to thank everybody for joining us here on Only Football, brought to you by Star 6 Media. If you're liking what we are bringing you, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that share button. Be like Chandler Jones to Mac Jones and smash that like button as if it was Mac Jones. But yeah, let's move on to NFC East division game.
All right. So last time this game happened, the Cowboys lost, and it was really hyped up because the Cowboys were on a winning streak. But remember, they had Cooper Rush. So playing with Cooper Rush versus Dak Prescott. Now, I mentioned this before. I have the Eagles winning this game, but I'm going to explain something. When what's his name? When Dak Prescott, obviously they prefer Dak Prescott over Cooper Rush, but I'm not sure if I think he is better, but you got to be careful what you're asking him to do, because when you're asking him to throw the ball more than, I think it was 34, here it is, 35 pass attempts or more, meaning they're in a shootout.
Jesus.
He has a 16-24 record. That is under 500. That is not good. But if you only ask him to throw 34 or fewer, he's 44-13. You can beat the Eagles if the run game is going really well. But the problem is the Eagles have such a powerful offense. If you stop the run, they'll throw it. If you stop them, we'll get the tight ends involved. If you stop all that, Hurts will just run for 150 yards and a half. Like, there's really not a lot of ways that you can shut down this Eagles team. And with the way the Cowboys have been playing defense lately, that was what was allowing them to win when Cooper Rush was playing, was that Micah Parsons and that defense was just nasty. They were getting after it. Now you see them giving up a lot of points to the Jaguars, and then the week before. And they're not the same unit right now defensively. And because of that, Dak Prescott has to throw the ball more. And when you ask him to be a gunslinger, they lose the football game. So take that for what it's worth. But as long as Dallas's defense is gone and forgotten, as far as being a top 5 defense, I'm going to go with the Eagles, who have not changed and have always been that guy. They've always been that team. We know who the Eagles are. We figured it out like by week 4, and they haven't digressed. But that one Commanders game that they lost, it was a fluke. The Eagles are the best team in the NFL.
NFL, wow. Kyle's going NFL with the Eagles. I like it. I am gonna go on the other way. I'm going Cowboys.
What?
I'm taking the Dallas home, and the reason being is that Jalen Hurts is up in the air right now if he's gonna play. From what I hear, he may or may not play. And the thing is, he shouldn't play. Honestly, he shouldn't play. Because can they beat the Cowboys with Jalen Hurts? I think so. I mean, they just struggled. They beat the Bears by 5 points. So it was somewhat of a struggle, right? Jalen Hurts couldn't get anything going through the air. So he was struggling a bit. The Cowboys still have a very, very good defense. Micah Parsons is going to want every single part of Jalen Hurts. And indeed. And I don't know. I think you want to protect Jalen Hurts for the playoffs, although I feel like it's kind of like a terrible take on my end to be like, protect him for the playoffs, right? Like, he's going to lead you to the Super Bowl. They want to beat the Cowboys. Everybody in the NFC East wants to beat each other. Every division rival wants to beat each other. I think the Cowboys take it because Dak Prescott is going to play a really good game against the Eagles, and I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to play. If Jalen Hurts does play, it'll probably be a closer game, but I think the Cowboys are going to win on their defense, and Dak Prescott having a much better game. CeeDee Lamb, I feel like, is going to go absolutely crazy in this game too. There's going to be a lot of chippiness because they know what's at stake here. The Cowboys know if we can get a win here, we can get closer to taking the East crown. But if we can, and if we lose, right, we're going to be a wild card team regardless.
Yeah,
right?
They're not taking. There's like I don't have.
There's
the
like
Eagles
a 1% chance, right?
Yeah. I think the Eagles would have to lose every single game, and then it would go based on strength of schedule because they would split the head-to-head. Because the Eagles would have to lose this week. So, I mean, if you're the Cowboys, you've already clinched the playoffs.
Yeah.
But this
so
is
either of these teams, but I guess it's really just the division hatred that's going to drive this game. But I would rather, as the Cowboys, go into the playoffs in a good rhythm. We beat the Eagles. Can they beat us a third time? Or can they beat us a third time out of 3 games? Can they beat us more than once, or we have a better shot? in the playoffs if they meet, right? So
Yeah,
I got the Cowboys in this at home.
And it's interesting because if the Cowboys, we talked automatic wild card, that drops them to 5. And in the wild card week, 6 plays 2, 5 plays 3, whatever. Assuming that the bottom 2 seeds in the NFC would lose, the Cowboys would end up playing the Eagles in the first round of the division round.
Yep.
So if you're the Eagles, I wouldn't throw Hurts out there unless he's absolutely healthy, because there is a great chance that you're going to see this game on divisional week. But I assumed that Jalen Hurts was going to play. If he doesn't, I'm with the Cowboys. I'm with that pick. But no, I'm serious though. Like
it's a good reason to want to pick the Cowboys, right? Like I'm not. Yeah, I don't think I'm crazy.
Have their best player.
Exactly. I don't think I'm crazy to say that the Cowboys can beat the Eagles without Jalen Hurts.
Oh, you're not at all. They're likely to, probably. I wonder what DraftKings.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what they think, because no, you're totally right. I mean, it's not like a crazy take. Like right now, it's Eagles are favored to lose by 5.
Oh wow! See,
yeah, because they're assuming Hurts isn't going to play. So you're spot on. It said that they weren't ruling Fields out or Hurts out yet. So until they do, I'm gonna
strategy.
Exactly. All right. Great discussion right there. We're going to move on, though, to a next game. The Las Vegas Raiders at Steelers. I told you there's 14 playoff games. That means there was 2 that weren't, and I have this one circled as a meaningless game. Not to give you guys nothing to be excited about in this game, but, I mean, you got 2 teams that combined for 12 wins and 16 losses, both under 500. The Raiders kind of started getting something together. There's something you can build off of going to next year. And the Steelers, I guess, Kenny Pickett, you're kind of learning if he's going to be your guy going into the next year. And these last couple games for him are probably paramount to securing this job. That's really the only things I can say about excitement. I have to pick one, though, and I'm going to take the Steelers at home.
Yeah, I'm going with the Steelers as well. They beat on who was it that they beat? Carolina last week. And it was actually Mitch Trubisky there, right? Under center. So he had an okay game. I mean, you had Najee, I think, rushed for almost 100 yards and a touchdown. And they had another running back. I forget exactly who it was. I'm going to try to get his name here in a bit. But that rushing game is working well for the Steelers right now. The Carolina Panthers again, or I'm sorry, not the Carolina Panthers. The Raiders, they won on a just like a terrible play by the Patriots. Jaylen Warren is the other running back for the Steelers. So they're both playing really well. But the Raiders won on a terrible play. They also got a lot of help from the refs. I don't know if you remember that game tying touchdown where it was clearly out of bounds that he stepped. I forget who it was, if it was Hollins or another wide receiver. I forget who it was for the Raiders.
I missed that one.
Clearly he was out. He was clearly out. His foot was out of bounds. They got a little help from the refs there. They're like, oh yeah, it's not enough evidence. Like bullshit. Like I could tell it's out from sitting on my couch at home. So they got some help from the refs, and then they got some help from Mac Jones and Ramondre Stevenson and whoever else lateraled the ball that day. The Steelers are looking a little bit better. They're going to play a little bit more inspired for Mike Tomlin, and with the recent passing of I forget his name, one of the guys for the Immaculate Reception, the guy who scored the touchdown for that. Like I think it's going to be a bit more of a emotional kind of game, and neither of these teams are that good to where the emotional, like we were talking about, right, with the emotional side can't really win out. So again, Steelers at home, the crowd's going to be loud. The atmosphere, I think, is going to be pretty intense. But I got the Steelers winning this on their running backs, not really on Mitch or even Kenny Pickett. I think the running backs are gonna be a big factor in this game.
I do think that the emotion, though, is enough to beat a team that's 6-8. I was saying that it's not enough to beat like the Eagles.
Yeah, I 100% completely agree. It's not like the Steelers on emotion alone can beat the Eagles or the Bills or something like that. It's like, no, you need the talent. I completely agree.
Yeah. So I forgot about that. I'm glad you brought it up. They put a decal on their helmets. They're wearing their 50-year throwback uniforms. So That is such an important thing to bring up, and I totally forgot. But yeah, definitely going Steelers, even more so because of that. This next game, I know how your uncle feels. He said it in the chat. We got the Green Bay Packers at Miami. This is a game that, as a guy that grew up in Wisconsin, has family in Miami, this is a game that my family likes to go to every year. They'll be there this year. This is so different for the Packers, right? They play in December, Lambeau, -2 at kickoff, wind chill, -13. Now they're in Miami, soaking up in the sun.
Yep.
Packers have a lot to play for right now if they want to keep their hopes alive. And all they have to do, I think they have to win out, and they need some of these other teams to lose, right? It's not over. So I do think the Packers are going to end up officially being out of the playoffs in this game.
So you got the
Yeah, I got the Dolphins edging the Packers.
Edging. I love it. Edging them. I've also got the Dolphins winning, and it's not there goes my uncle again. Oh, I love it. Dude, you talk to a Bears fan and it's just fuck the Packers all day, every day. You mentioned the weather, and it's like I can go in the Packers direction, or I can go in the Dolphins direction with this, because we know that the Packers weather, like you said, in Lambeau, it's below freezing. It's Lambeau Field, it's their type of game. The Dolphins show that they can play in the cold weather, but now they are in Miami in that really nice warm climate in Florida, right? Aaron Rodgers, I mean, hey man, it's Aaron Rodgers playing in really nice conditions. I think he can get it done, right? Like, he can absolutely get the win. I don't think so though. I don't think so for this week.
Oh,
yeah, I almost had you though.
I thought it was about to be
Absolutely not. It will never be that for me. I'm taking the Dolphins in this too. They put on, they really stuck up for themselves against the Bills in that really cold weather. They're going back home. Tua knows what needs to get done after the Patriots loss and the Jets lost right last week. They're going to try to sneak in. They not sneak in necessarily, but they really want a playoff season, I guess, this year, right? For Tua and Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, and even Chubb, even Bradley Chubb, right? Like, all these guys really want it. So they're gonna I think they're gonna demolish the Packers, honestly. I don't think the Packers are gonna be very good. I think it's gonna be a 2-score win for the Dolphins, to be honest. So I'm taking Dolphins. Yeah.
Wow, 2-score win. Write that down, circle it.
10-14.
Set a reminder on your phone. Do whatever you have to do to remind Rick he's crazy. I do like the way you put that, though. Miami sticking up for themselves. That was a really actually good way to put what they did last week. Our next game is going to be my Denver Broncos going into Los Angeles. So many losses right now. Like, the bad losses, like in the record. I can't remember. Los Angeles. All right. They're playing the Rams. Both of these teams have 8 wins combined, 20 losses. They say there's always something to play for when you're in the NFL. If it's not postseason, and that's all fans care about, there's players playing for job security. So there will always be something here. Sean McVay is going to have a team ready. The Broncos are coming off maybe their best win of the season. It looked really bad when it was 9-3 in the third quarter, but then they ran the ball for 160 some yards. I think FedEx Ground Player of the Year, Latavius Murray, was either he won it or he was nominated. But I did like what I was seeing from the running game. They were doing this thing where they would run the ball and they would pull a guard, and then he would kind of lead, and they just kept doing it over and over until they were able to stop it. They weren't, but that's the Cardinals. This is the Rams. I don't know if Aaron Donald's playing. I would be surprised if I saw him in this game. So I'm going to go with my Broncos, because not only will I mostly always pick them, but I'm definitely going to pick them if they're going against a team as bad as we are this year. So give me the Broncos to get the Christmas dub on the road and get back home to open up presents with the family in Denver.
Yep. I'm taking the Broncos in this one too, man. It's Russ Wilson I said earlier, God was like, no thanks, Tim Tebow. I'm going with the Patriots. I think God's on Russ's side this time. He's going with the Broncos against the Rams. And I think they take that momentum from that win last week against the Cardinals, right? What was it? It was 24-15.
Yeah, the final.
Yeah. I think they take it to the Rams, and I mean, they just beat them. The Rams are not a good team this year, man. I can never take the Rams. I took them last week, or no, we took the Packers against the Rams, right? Last week, and they're both just terrible teams, really. We saw that schedule for week 15, and we're like, Rams Packers week 15. Oh man, that's going to be a good one. Both the teams kind of suck. The Packers need to win out in order to make the playoffs. The Rams are nowhere near the playoffs.
I love how the Packers are so much worse than Miami, and if the Packers win, they're one game apart. Like that is.
It's such a weird season.
I think. Well, I think the Packers.
It's just a weird season.
I think the Packers turned a corner like 3 weeks ago, and nobody's caught up to it yet. Once Watson became Rodgers' guy, they started playing better football.
But
it's gonna be a good game in Miami. I think you're like it's gonna be over.
It's gonna be over. It's gonna be over for the Packers this week because the Lions are so much better than them this season, I think. And that was after they went 1-6, right? So,
or the Vikings
and the Vikings and the Lions, I think. Yeah, I think the Lions definitely definitely turned the corner and just became better than the Packers. Remember, I had them finishing 4th and the Bears 3rd. So that just goes to show you a little something, right? But I'm taking the Broncos again. Patrick Surtain, Pro Bowler. This defense deserves to be on the Pro Bowl on its own.
Because they've had 3 picks on Sunday.
Yeah, they've had injuries. They traded away Bradley Chubb. This offense has had a lot of injuries. And, mark my words, again, December 21st, 2022, this Broncos offense is going to be in the playoffs next year, 100%.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Kyle's crying. Kyle's such a baby. Look at him crying.
It's been a while.
No, man, this Broncos team is going to be good next year, I think so. And I mean, they're just kind of going through a tough transition right now with, having to be sponsored by Walmart or whatever. And, Russ Wilson, Russ Wilson having to kind of navigate a new offense without a wrist sleeve thing. So,
is it save money, live better? Is that the phrase? Walmart save money?
I think their like phrase is pay our workers less money so you can buy cheaper or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's save money, live better. So maybe we'll save money, play better next year.
There you go.
We'll see. All right, we got the Bucks and the Cardinals on a classic Sunday night football matchup.
Christmas Day.
Going to savor these last ones because when it's April and I'm withdrawing from football, the nostalgia of hearing Chris Collinsworth calling a game, I'm going to miss it. It's going to be gone. And I'm going to say, I didn't appreciate it when it was still there. So I will definitely be watching this game. I think Tampa absolutely needs to get a win. And the Cardinals, I think, are the worst team in football right now. And I'm going to take, there's an in-depth conversation with a Cardinals fan that kind of broke down the state of the team and what's wrong with them. And when you really break down the dysfunction and the injuries, I think you can make a really good argument that they're the worst team in the NFL because there's nothing that they can do well. Like there's not one thing.
That's true. That is very true.
So I think the Bucks get this win. Yeah. I'm going to use the bathroom really quick while you.
Yeah. Real quick, though, I do want to say what's up, JST Killer. What's up, dude? Nice to see you in the stream. Thanks for tuning in and being in the comments. Appreciate it. Bucks at Cardinals, Sunday Night Football. Liam, you said this earlier, right? Trace McSorley. You mentioned Trace McSorley. Not on the Ravens, but on the Cardinals. And the Cardinals are ruling out Colt McCoy in this game. So they are turning to Trace McSorley to start this game against the Bucks. Not sure what to do with that information other than predict the Bucks win. I'm taking the Bucks to win this one too. Tom Brady, Sunday Night Football, Christmas Day. This is what he has done his entire career, is win games like this. So I'm definitely taking the Bucks to beat the Cardinals in this one. It's like you said, Kyle, I mean, the Cardinals can't do anything right. They have DeAndre Hopkins, and that's about it. Kyler Murray is obviously out with an injury. And that's kind of it. That is really kind of it for the Cardinals. Their defense has, been pretty bad ever since I think they traded away Chandler Jones, if I'm not mistaken, before this season. And he was doing really well for them last year. So they do have JJ Watt, and he had a really good game last week, but also JJ Watt can't do it on its own. And he's pretty much on the back end of his career at this point. So it's not like he's like a force to be reckoned with, like a Von Miller really in his later years. JST, Tom Brady needs to retire.
I don't think so. I
don't
think Tom Brady's going to play next year, and he's going to, if he goes to 49ers, he'll win the Super Bowl. I think he's just playing in a bad team right now.
Yeah. And I just can't see him retiring after this year.
Hell no.
After, giving up his entire life and kids for it. So
yeah, exactly.
He's like, one more year. I need to make it one more year.
He's like a fiend. He's like a fiend at the casino at this point.
He's like, if I just one more bet and I'll make the rest of my money back. Yes, we did just finish the Chiefs prediction. We both went with the Chiefs to beat the Seahawks. So you're welcome. But yeah, that is the Christmas Day Sunday night football game. Bucks and Cardinals. Me and Kyle both have the Bucks. Monday night football, Chargers at Colts. I don't know what to make of this one, but Kyle, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, so the Colts are going with a brand new quarterback because Nick Foles is taking over for Matt Ryan. Nick Foles, I read on an article his only game action this year was week 2 against Jacksonville because it was such a lopsided blowout that they put him in. But when I watched the highlights to try to find film on him, there's 2 minutes left and Matt Ryan was still in the game. So I guess maybe he came in for like 2 plays, but he didn't play this year. You can just assume that. So is Nick Foles better than Matt Ryan at this point? Probably, I think, yeah. I think Matt Ryan is working with Kyle Shanahan, made him an MVP, right? He lost some of that stuff that the Falcons have been nothing really to write home about since Shanahan was in San Francisco. So I think we're seeing a guy that peaked about 5 years ago, and now he is crumbling really, really fast in front of our eyes. This is his last year as a starting quarterback in the NFL. He may have already played his last game. So with Nick Foles coming in, I expect the game to be, I'm not going to say, like the Chargers can play decent football because they have Justin Herbert. So I'm going to take the Chargers because I think Justin Herbert is truly a top 5 QB probably right now. If you see the type of throws he can make, there are other great quarterbacks that don't have his talent. He can put a ball in a place that only a few can do. And I think as long as he's on the team, then even in close games, he'll will the team into a victory. I'm taking the Chargers, but I think it's gonna be closer than people think. I'm gonna take the Chargers by like 6.
Yeah, I could see that. I could actually see the Chargers winning by 2 scores too against the Colts. The Colts putting up 33 points last week, I think, was just kind of like one of those anomalies. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's going to happen again on Monday Night Football against the Chargers. Chargers have a better defense. They've got a better offense. Absolutely. The Colts starting Nick Foles is just going to make them worse, in my opinion. Matt Ryan is not good this year, sure, but Nick Foles hasn't played in over a year. I want to say football. He hasn't played football in over a year. So I don't understand the decision to start Nick Foles, because if you think Matt Ryan's a statue in the pocket, Nick Foles is just as much, if not worse, of a statue in the pocket. Well, I don't know if I'd say he's better than Matt Ryan at this point.
Yeah, I mean, but you can only go up. I think that's the point, right?
I guess so, yeah. But I think that's kind of what they were trying to do with oh my God, the rookie quarterback or the second year quarterback that they had.
Oh yeah, Sam Ellinger or something.
Ellinger, yeah. I think that's kind of what they were doing, and you saw the results. Like, it wasn't really up, it wasn't really down. It was more of just the same terrible offense that they were having. So I've got the Chargers beating the Colts by more than 2 scores, to be honest. I mean, it's probably going to be a 17-point game. If the Chargers are a team, there's any team that can, and then this is why, because JST is in the chat, saying the same thing I am. Chargers are making the playoffs after this win. Like, they are going to be going into a nice little groove. They're going to make the playoffs this year. Finally, Justin Herbert, like you said, is a very, very good quarterback, and he's playing like it right now. He's just kind of had a couple bad. I mean, it's a Chargers thing. They get a couple bad things go their way, and that's it. That's the Chargers season. They don't go into the playoffs. But I've got the Chargers winning. And then, yeah, I mean, you got the Chargers. I got the Chargers. I don't think we really disagree on anything other than Nick Foles and Matt Ryan.
I disagree that the Chargers are winning by 17. Well, you said a couple scores. That could be 10 or 14. So which one are you leaning towards?
Like minimum 10, max 14.
No 17 though, right?
I mean, maybe.
maybe. So I think for the most part, maybe disagreed on like 3 or 4, but I think there was a lot of games we agreed on. We didn't agree on the Texans game with the Titans. We didn't agree on, I think, 2 others, but we'll have all that information next week. So definitely a lot of important games to stay tuned in. The playoff picture is really going to start looking probably a lot easier. If a couple teams lose, we can, they'll be mathematically out if they're more than 1 game back, with only 1 game left. This is the playoffs. And this is what I was saying. It's like, even when you're watching the real playoffs, there's only 4 games on a week, maybe tops. So it's really unique that, because next week, then you go into like people starting to sit players. So I really think it's cool that we found ourselves in a 14 game playoff this week. So there's going to be a ton of really, really important football to watch. So stay tuned for all that stuff. We're going to be talking about all that and live streaming games, of course. I will be. And you guys are free to always jump on and blow up the comments like you always do. So let's go to our next segment.
Real quick, Kyle, before we do that, let's actually get to the comments here real quick. JST Killer, do you both have the Bills to beat the Bears? Yep, 100%. And like I was talking about earlier, Chargers beat the Colts. Chargers are making the playoffs, and he's even in here talking about Herbert. He said Mahomes and Herbert untouchable QBs, but also he wanted to add Allen in that. And then talking about playoffs, do you think the Lions will make the playoffs?
Yes, and they do.
Yes, same. Yes, and they do, 100%. And then we got Alpha. Shout out Alpha. Alpha, thanks for making it on.
What's up, Alpha?
What up, what up? They honestly have a shot, and that's crazy to say. Are you talking about the Lions or the Chargers? Either way, it is crazy to say. What were you going to say, Kyle?
I was going to say probably the Lions, and I've been trying to find. I don't think anybody has ever started 1-7 and made the playoffs. And if you would have looked at the percentage of, playoff, whatever they call it, like what are the chances you make the playoffs by week 8 when they were 1-7? I guarantee you it was like 1 or 2%. So this is like Alpha saying something that we haven't seen before. We've seen teams get hot at the end of a stretch and win maybe 6 in a row, 5 in a row. But if the Lions win out, they will have gone on to win 9 of their last 10 games, and they will have a 10-7 record. That is pretty freaking unbelievable. And Dan Campbell, I mean, good for him. I'm happy for him, honestly.
Same.
All those tears finally paid off. Hopefully he'll be tears of joy this year. And the Lions are going to be like everybody's playoff team. Like everyone that has no one to root for is going to be like, let's go Lions.
Yeah. Even me, honestly, I'll be like, yeah, let's go Lions. I'd rather the Lions do something more than the Vikings, to be honest. I like the Lions more than the Vikings.
I do too. I absolutely do. So, all right, we're going to go into Hold Up, Wait, and talk about a couple breaking news type things that have happened. So I'll let you go first.
Hold up.
Wait.
So we kind of talked about it a little bit. Colts going with Foles over Matt Ryan versus the Chargers. 3 weeks left in the season. Do they continue with Foles? And we did kind of talk about it a little bit, but I want a little bit more of a deep dive, Kyle. What do you think? Do you think this is the right move? You said Foles is better than Ryan at this point of their careers. Is that true? Do you really believe that?
I think it's possible. I think there's a real shot. I think Nick Foles and Matt Ryan have one thing in common, that they both went to a Super Bowl, but
Hmm.
they also have one thing that sets them apart, and that's that Nick Foles won, and he's a
Hmm.
Super Bowl MVP. I think if you look at Matt Ryan's body, right? I'm not being weird here, but like you see how like lengthy and skinny he is, and he's very immobile. Like he can't do much. I'm looking for Nick Foles to be able to extend plays a little bit better than Matt Ryan is, letting
Hmm.
those receivers kind of get loose and make it up as they go. So a little more of the maybe, like I could see a Colts fan going, oh, Matt Ryan couldn't do that. I can see that happening
Yeah.
on Sunday a couple times. Whether that also means having more interceptions than Matt Ryan, but one thing's for sure, he can't fumble more than Matt Ryan, because Matt Ryan has been fumbling literally every time that he's touched
True.
the ball this
True.
season. I mean, it has been
Yeah.
pretty bad, pretty ugly. So yeah, that's my take on it. I think they could be better.
So I was gonna, like I said earlier, I disagree. I don't think them is the right one, especially against the Chargers. This is Ryan's a guy who didn't really engineer an offense to go 33 points last week, but was, under center for 33 points with that Colts team. So I think you kind of stick with that. And we mentioned Sam Ehlinger. Let's switch to Sam Ehlinger. That didn't work. They switched back to Ryan. They started looking a little bit better. Yeah, you're going to have your stumbles with Matt Ryan, but what did you expect when you signed them this offseason? Patrick Mahomes? No, you knew what you were getting. You're getting a former league MVP who is in the very back end of his career and could maybe make the Colts somewhat of a destination for them next year with, Jonathan Taylor in the defense and the offensive line we thought they were going to have. But yeah, I would rather go with Ryan over Foles. And I think that might just be biased because I did have him in the Bears for a little bit. So that might just be a little bit biased.
Well, you would go Nick Foles over Matt Ryan?
No. Matt Ryan over Nick Foles.
But didn't Nick Foles also go to the Bears?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's why I have that bias.
Okay.
I have that bias against Nick Foles. Yeah, exactly.
I get it now. I was like, oh, okay, that makes perfect sense. All right, hold up. Wait. All right, Trevor Lawrence, after having just a terrible year under Urban Meyer's bad parenting last year, has totally transformed into the guy that he was projected to be, Mel Kiper's top 5 quarterbacks of all time he's ever scouted. So here's the question. The NFL has moved Trevor Lawrence up into the top 7 quarterbacks, passing guys like Dak Prescott, Geno Smith, Justin Fields, Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, and Tom Brady. Is that where Trevor Lawrence belongs right now?
Yes. And I will say, you said it perfectly. It was just whatever happened with Urban Meyer was like, let's forget that season. Trevor Lawrence is technically, in my eyes, a rookie this year, and he has made really great strides this year as a quarterback. He started off rough, and I think this it's just kind of him getting used to, again, like his third head coach in his very, very short career. Third head coach, really. The offense is going to be a little bit different. They got some weapons. Obviously, they got rid of one of the running backs, and I mean, you really saw him evolve as a passer these last couple of weeks because Doug Peterson is a Super Bowl winning coach for he was with the Philadelphia Eagles. It's funny because he was the coach for Nick Foles when he won the Super Bowl, also Carson Wentz. But I think Trevor Lawrence, and we mentioned them earlier, right? Like he's that generational guy that is starting to kind of make strides this year. And because of a coach who isn't, trying to like, hey, yeah, you guys go ahead. I'm going to stay back at this Ohio bar and, stick my fingers in places. Yep. We're going to just go with that. So I think, like I said, technically, I think he's a rookie this year. So he's going to make the strides. He's making the strides right now. And, he's good. He's good. I think it's the right move.
Have you seen Ted?
Yeah.
Up the fireman's ass. Yeah. I don't think you would stick a finger up his own ass. Get out of here. Get out of here. All right. Hold up.
Wait. All right, so there's a huge snowstorm headed to Chicago this week, Christmas Eve. Is this benefiting the Bills or the Bears? Is this Bills weather? Is this Bears weather? And what do you? I mean, we already gave our prediction on that the Bills were going to beat the Bears, but what exactly happens in this game with this weather, Kyle?
All right. So, as a lot of people know at this point, depending on where you're watching this show from, there's an Arctic thing coming through right now. My mom lives in Nashville right now. It never snows there. It's supposed to be negative, in like -2. So the whole country's kind of cold right now. So I think when you talk about the storm, Buffalo advantage, yes, playing in the snow because they play in more snow every time. Usually Buffalo's the first snow game we see in like early October. We're like, damn, it's snowing in Buffalo. Everyone look, Buffalo, it's snowing already.
They got 6 feet.
I will say that it gets to a point where you're playing in the snow and sub-zero temperatures, whether it's in the single digits or sub-zero. It gets to a point where it's just freaking cold. I think nobody, this is the thing, nobody really has an advantage in the cold because Chicago, Green Bay, Minnesota, I screw Minnesota because they play in a dome. I'm going to go Green Bay and Chicago play in the coldest weather out of any team in the NFL. And I think that if the Bears have an advantage, it's not the snow. It's the thing no one's talking about. It's the sub-zero temperature.
Yep. And I would agree. I don't think this really benefits either because both quarterbacks are mobile. Both quarterbacks can throw the ball. Obviously, Josh Allen more than Justin Fields. But I really think this is going to be a game where the rushing is going to be very important. Now, the Bears probably have the advantage over the Bills in that, but I still think the Bills have enough, well, not enough, but have way more on defense to make sure that the Bears don't get anything going, whether it be through the air or through the ground. I do think Justin Fields has another really good game, and that's why I started him over Josh Allen in my fantasy team. But we'll get to that a little bit later. So I don't, like you said, I don't think it necessarily is an advantage for either team because they both play in the same elements. But we still got the Bills to win, and I just maybe the sub-zero temperature, like you said, benefits the Bears, but we still got the Bills to win. So it's just going to be another fun snow game to watch.
But let me just ask you really quick. If it is like a snow blizzard game, are you looking at Justin Fields' mobility to be limited? Obviously you can't run in that kind of snow. It could, if it's a blizzard, like a projected blizzard, Justin Fields' mobility may be a bad thing since that's his only thing he can do, and that might be taken away from him. You see players try to run in piles of snow, and they just can't really do anything. This could be a 6-9 ball game. You know what I'm saying?
It could be. I think when you ask, like, is it gonna will Justin Fields kind of take a hit on his ability? Yeah, but so will everyone else. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's necessarily just on the quarterbacks this time. It's not necessarily going to just affect the quarterbacks. It's going to affect literally everyone. And if Justin Fields can't get it going, then Khalil Herbert and David Montgomery can't get it going, and then just Josh Allen can't get it going. You know what I mean? Like there has to be one element, and that's the rushing game for both of these teams that is going to really be above and beyond than they have, right? And the Bears, again, have the advantage in that sense, but I think the Bills defense is way better and they're going to play way better than the Bears.
Definitely. And if you guys have time, look up the 2008 NFC divisional playoff game between the Seahawks, wildcard round, Seahawks Packers. It was called the Snow Bowl. I just watched the highlights on that the other day. It was mad snow. And that can give you an idea of how bad it can really get. It can get really weird. People can't see pylines. So definitely tune into that. Hold up. Wait. Rob Gronkowski has shook up the NFL world by tweeting just a couple words. I'm kinda bored. He added a stoic emoji followed by a couple of periods. Tom Brady needing some help, has nothing going for him right now. Rick, is Rob Gronkowski coming out of retirement?
Absolutely not. He knew exactly what he was doing when he tweeted this. There's no way he's coming back for Tom Brady. Look, I know. And in a season where it's been absolutely ridiculous, left and right, every week has been like, what just happened? This is the most ridiculous part of it all, is that anybody thinks that Rob Gronkowski is going to come back. Look, Tom Brady needs a friend. We all know that. He's going through a rough year. There's no way Rob Gronkowski comes back out of retirement for a second time to try to play on a team that could they be better with Rob? Absolutely. But will he want to play? Probably not. I don't think so. I don't think he's going to waste his time. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was just stirring up controversy. He said it multiple times before that he will not come out of retirement, or, maybe the playoffs, but I highly doubt it. I think he's done, and, he's going to go down as one of the best tight ends of all time, but I think he's done.
Yeah, definitely. And Gronkowski did recently just tell a Fox Sport NFL analyst that retirement is retirement this time. It feels good, man. However, we've seen this movie before. We've seen Gronkowski retire, itch to get back. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I'm not keeping it off the table, but I will lean towards the side that he doesn't come back, because I think it would take some time anyway. Like, if he came back now, he may not even be up to like football speed until the Super Bowl time.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see about that. That was our hold up weight segments that we had for you guys. We're going to move on to another segment that is called
I'm
rich, bitch.
Hold on, here we go.
I'm rich, bitch. There it
is. Sorry, my bad.
I like it like that because it looks funny when we look back on it. I'm like, and then nothing happens.
We're like, yeah. So I'm rich, right, bitch. This is the segment where Kyle and I try to give you guys decent betting advice. Probably don't take it, but hey, if you do, let us know. Let us know if you win anything because of us, because we will want a piece of that. But we're going to go over our best spread, underdog of the week, don't touch it bet, and our bet of the week. Kyle, do you want to start it off with best spread?
Best spread. Okay. I was going to start off with don't touch it. So let me move to best spread. Actually, give me yours so I can track mine down.
So best spread, I think this week is going to be the Lions -3. They're taking on the Panthers at home. They're the favorites, I think, at the Panthers. And kind of how I, took the Broncos -3 last week. I think the Lions got this, but I think I said a score, maybe like 2 scores, 10 points. I think I said, I'm not sure, but they're going to cover. They're definitely going to cover -3 against the Panthers. Crazy things have happened, but one of the crazy things is that the Lions are this good this late into the season, and that they turned their season around mid-year. So yeah, they're taking it -3 Lions.
Yeah. And mine is the Cincinnati Bengals. They're the hottest team in the NFL. New England is an average team. I don't know why they're only supposed to win by 3. I get it. New England has a defense, but so does Cincinnati right now. Give me the Bengals by more than 3.
Love it. Next up, we've got underdog of the week. Kyle, do you want to go first? Or you want me to take it?
I'll give that one to you.
All right. Underdog of the week this week for me is going to be the Eagles +5 against the Cowboys. I did pick the Cowboys, but I think that's a great underdog to take right now if you're anybody in the betting world. Again, I did take the Cowboys, but that's just because Jalen Hurts is also out. So this is possibly a good underdog to take, depending on who is starting, and maybe the line might change as football, as a Saturday football, or is that Sunday? I forget. Is that Saturday or Sunday? No, Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
Yeah. As long as Saturday gets closer, depending on what Jalen Hurts is he active? Is he going to play? Is he hurt? That line may change, but as of right now, DraftKings has the Eagles +5 against the Cowboys, and I'm taking that one as my underdog of the week.
All right, underdog of the week. Green Bay Packers going down to South Beach to play Miami. The Packers are finally playing loose. They know the receivers are Aaron Rodgers in a nice, cool climate with nothing to lose. I'm expecting this to be a really fun game. And if you're having a fun game with Aaron Rodgers, you might end up on the wrong side of it.
What are the Packers plus what?
The Packers are plus 3.5.
3.5. Love it. Love it. All right, Kyle, don't touch it. Let me see if hold on. Let me see if I can play the sound. Let me see if I got it. If I got it. Yep. Here we go.
God gave us a great big apple, see? And he said, don't touch it. He didn't say touch it once in a while. He didn't say take a nibble when you're hungry. He said, don't touch it. Don't think about touching it. Don't sing about touching it. Don't think about singing about touching it.
All right, Kyle. Who is your don't touch it of this week?
All right. Do not think about singing about touching the Jets and the Jags. Just stay away from it. The Jags are playing really good, but they're only 2 weeks removed to, like, gosh, we move on so quick from things, man. They just got embarrassed by Detroit. It was 41-14. No one cares now. They beat the Cowboys. I remember. I didn't forget. And I also don't know, with this Jets defense able to stop the Lions offense. I mean, do the Jets just, anything could happen. Don't think about touching it. Just watch and enjoy it.
I'm going to go with Raiders and Steelers because what we talked about, the emotional side for the Steelers, and can they win this game? Sure. But the Raiders have a lot of talent on their team. And it seems like it's like 1 week they forget they have that talent. The next week they remember they have that talent. Devontae Adams has 3 touchdowns. They can't get more than 10 points. It's just the Raiders are just such a terrible bet all year. And obviously they win on a very lucky play on the lateral last week. So don't touch the Steelers or the Raiders game this week. Like Kyle said, watch it, enjoy it, and whoever wins wins. But whoever wins is going to have a Merry Christmas. But if you bet on this, you're proud on Christmas.
Yeah. And the other don't touch it is the Travis Kelce versus Rob Gronkowski tight end debate that's blowing up in the comment section.
Oh, that's right. There you go.
That is a debate also that you don't want to touch it. Who knows, man? I mean, who knows? Take your pick. Kelce's not done. So by the time it's all said and done with Patrick Mahomes, Kelce could be the guy. But no one's going to forget how Gronkowski totally transformed the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the guy that, he was such a physical wide receiver. He was an amazing player. Don't forget about Gronk. Don't do it. So
I was going to say real quick, that's what Alpha's taking. Alpha's taking prime Gronk, and JSC is taking Kelce. So like you said, at the end of the day, who knows what happens? But
if you're a Chiefs
both of these guys,
Patriots
exactly. All right, last one is our bet of the week. I will start it off. Bet of the week. I think you should take the over for the Packers and Dolphins game, 49.5. Take the over in this game. This, like I said, it could be a really good week for Aaron Rodgers playing in very, very nice weather in Florida. And Tua is going to want to win this game to try to solidify that playoff spot for the Dolphins. So take the over, 49.5.
Yeah. Mine is you got Detroit winning, right? That's against the Panthers. Right.
Yep.
We got that. We got the Bengals rolling over the Patriots, and we got the Chargers beating the Colts on Monday night. And then we got the Bucks playing the Cardinals. Go ahead and just take those 4, put 20 on it, win $124.
There you go. There's the I'm rich bitch segment for you guys. Best spread, underdog of the week, don't touch it, bet of the week. And again, if you guys win money off any of the bets that we talked about today, send us a little something. I don't care if it's a 6-pack, if it's $10, just remember.
How do they do that?
You can mail it. You can Western Union it.
Walmart to Walmart.
A cashier's check will be fine. No, Venmo that shit. But hit us up either way. At Star6 Media on everything except for Twitter at _Star6 Media on Twitter. But hit us up. All right, let's move on.
One more thing. Before on the topic of bitch, because we were doing I'm rich bitch, I got to get my dog some medicine today, and on the back of it, it literally said, "Do not give to female bitches." And
what is a bitch?
No, it said pregnant bitches. That's what it said.
Oh, okay. I think you said female bitches. I was
no, it said pregnant bitches. And I was like, oh my gosh, I knew bitch was a female dog, but I've never seen it practically. I had to share this with you.
You're like, I've never seen it in real life on a medicine bottle. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, I'm such a child. I can't keep a straight face. I
remember there's like a scene in The Simpsons where it was like, Bart was saying something like, "Oh, Santa's little helper's bitch," And Marge was like, "Hey, you can't swear." I was like, "No, that's the name for a female dog is bitch." And she's like, "I'm gonna have a talk without what is that Webster's dictionary?"
Yeah,
people."
yeah.
I was like, I was like, I didn't even realize that. But all right,
Simpsons taught you.
yeah, you gotta love the Simpsons. All right, since Kyle gave you this segment on Monday, but I didn't give you mine, so we're gonna go with
Top 5, no debating. Top 5, top 5, top 5.
top five. I was not here, like I said, Christmas duties, airport duties, had to go do that. But let's go over the top five that we had. Kyle, I didn't get yours. I wasn't able to listen to it, but let's kind of start off from number 5.
All right.
Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first from number 5?
You go first. I want to hear
All
you.
right. Just because Kyle already said his, I hate it.
No, I did I say him? I think I stopped myself. I'm pretty
No,
sure.
I think you said him on Monday's episode.
God damn it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember you said that. But all right, number 5. I've got the Bengals at number 5.
What?
Entering number 5. There, I don't know. Who do you have at number 5? Who do you have at number 5 that you're
The
giving me?
Lions. The
What?
Bengals should be your 1 or 2.
No.
Oh man.
The Lions? Are you insane?
Right now, we said this is right now.
I don't think they can beat any of these top 5 teams.
You don't think the Bengals are better than I got to hear your 3 through 4, but the Bengals should be. They've already beat the Chiefs. They've already beat Buffalo. Like they've beaten the best teams.
Yeah, but we're talking about this week,
Or
right?
not
And
Buffalo,
you got Alpha in the comments agreeing with you. Bengals that low? I don't know, man. Bengals are on fire right now. I agree.
The Lions
But
should be there. The Lions.
You're
have
insane if you think the Lions are number 5 right now. You are insane.
won. How are they not? They've won 7 out of their last 8 games.
But
Number 3 offense, 15 defense, turnovers.
sure. But I mean, like, if you told me right now, like, who's winning the Super Bowl, Lions are not top 5. They're not. They're good. Don't get me wrong. They're good, but there's no way I have them beating any of the rest of the teams I have on my top 5 right now. You're insane. You're insane.
Yeah, I got to see who these other guys are. So
All
I
right.
got Lions at 5. Number 4, I have the Chiefs.
You have the Chiefs.
I got the Chiefs.
I've also got the Chiefs at number 4. Okay, we're on
Yes,
some sort of.
We needed
we're on a
that. We
comment.
needed that.
All right, number 4, we both have the Chiefs. Number 3 for me, 49ers.
Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah, I got 49ers. I mean, they beat the Seahawks they beat them in the first half. That game was just the first half. That's it. Like you saw that first half of the game and you're like, yeah, the 49ers are going to win this, even if they get close, which the Seahawks did somewhat, right? They were within 2 scores, I think. I think it was like 9 points. You could still be like, all right, even if the 49ers are only up by 3, they could still kind of go down the field and win by 10. So I got the 49ers at 3. Kyle, who do you have at number 3?
I screwed mine up. I have the 49ers where the Chiefs are.
Oh, so you have them at 4.
At 4, yeah.
You got the Chiefs at 3.
Yeah, I was reading mine. See, I take too many notes
Mhm.
and I couldn't look at this. So I totally whiffed on that. 49ers are at 4. And then at 3, I have the Bills.
No, you just said you had the Chiefs at 3.
No. The Chiefs are out. The 49ers are at 4.
Wow. Okay, I mean, I guess I know how the rest of this is going to go. You got the Bills at 3. What makes you why the Bills at 3?
Because they I still think the fact that they can be so high ranked on offense and defense, no other team is like that. You look at the Chiefs, right? They got a top 3 offense, but then they're the 22nd ranked defense and they're exposable. And then you look at the Bills and they're top 5 on both categories. No other team is like that. The 49ers, best defense, but then on offense, they're like 17. It's just the Bills are doing something that the other teams aren't doing. but I do have some concerns about their ability to run the football and not overuse Josh Allen. And that's why the Bills aren't the clear number one for me, is because I don't know if it's going to work in the long term or like even in the playoffs, because you saw Miami, they were almost able to beat Buffalo. The best teams in the NFL maybe play Miami a little bit better than that. They couldn't stop the run defense. I mean, they had 164 yards like on the ground in the third quarter, Miami. So yeah, Buffalo raised a little bit of flags. No Von Miller. I'll put him in at 3.
All right. Okay. Wow, that's insane that you don't have the Chiefs on there, and you got Alpha here in the comments. Oh man, I would have never thought someone would say 5th are the Lions and 4th are the Chiefs. Laughing my fucking ass off. The difference between the two has to be crazy. Yeah. Dude, I can't. I mean, I know we said this week, right? This week, who are your top 5 after the performances? I get it. I get the Lions. And the Chiefs struggled against the Texans or whatever, right? But Jesus, the Chiefs not even in the top 5. That's insane. So,
well, I mean, their last 2 weeks, though. Look at them.
Sure, I get that, and like you said, it's this week, right? So we'll keep it on there. It's just the hard thing, and I think you kind of mentioned this like in past episodes. It's like, how do you not put this team out of this team because of their body of work this season? Obviously, like those are the reactions that we're having. So moving on to number 2, I've actually got the Bills at number 2 because of what you said.
Okay.
Top 5. Yes, the concern is huge that Josh Allen is running the ball a lot, taking a lot of hits, similar to what I'm experiencing with the Bears and Justin Fields, taking a lot of big hits that are kind of like worrisome. The thing is, Josh Allen can also sling the ball really well. And I mean, really well, but also like he takes a lot of chances. You've seen he's probably got the highest interception total, I think, of all quarterbacks right now. So that's worrisome as well. But the more worrisome part is like, how many more hits until you kind of like are really shortening your career by a couple of years. So I've got the Bills at number 2 after a really, really good win against the Dolphins. Yes, it was close and it was a field goal, but you know, they stayed in the game and they proved that they can beat top teams in the NFL.
That's fair. That's fair. At number 2, you're going to hate me, but I have the Bengals.
I knew it. I knew it. They're good. They're good. They're good.
They're really good right now. And there's no one in the NFL playing better football than the Bengals. So if it is based on right now, the Bengals should be maybe number 1, but you know who I have there. So
yep.
I'm going to take the Bengals at number 2, and I'm very confident with that pick. And I don't think it's crazy to say that the AFC, they could be representing the AFC in February. So they got it together, and Joe Burrow is a freaking winner. And it's going to take people a little bit of time to catch up because the Bengals have been bad for a while. But true. I said this in the offseason when we predicted our division winners. I was like, they won the Super Bowl. No one's talking about them. And they're adding new offensive line weapons. Like they're going to be good again. Bowl. They went to the Super Bowl. Yeah. Then, you know, I just think, why is this so shocking? And it's just, it's Joe Burrow. What did he do in LSU? All he did is win his whole life. He's a winner. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL with Joe Burrow, Mahomes. Like Joe Burrow, I would even put him over guys with a lot of talent like Herbert because Joe wins. Nobody could have went to the Super Bowl with that O-line last year, and now he's got a better O-line. And I mean, the sky's the limit for him. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. It's the best receiving core in the NFL, period. So, yeah.
And you got Alpha in the comments. Bengals at number 2 seems just right, in my opinion. So you got someone else who agrees with you. I've got him at number 5. Obviously, you think I'm an insane person, but you also don't have the Chiefs in your top 5. But we'll get over it. We'll get over it. Number one. No, we're over it. We're over it. Kyle. Okay. We're over it. Number 1, we have the Eagles at number 1. We both have the Eagles at number 1. 1 loss on the year. You have the Colts?
No, the Texans after back-to-back weeks. No, dude, they beat the Oh God, I got you so good.
Oh,
It was a joke. It's
I
the
was about
Bears.
to. I was about to quit the podcast. That's how close you were.
No, it's a toss up between the Bears and the Jets. So I'm
All
looking
right,
at
now I'm really walking out. Now I'm really walking out.
Eagles, bro. Eagles all the way. Fly,
Eagles-
Eagles, fly.
Eagles all the way. Yeah, it's no question. I mean, they barely beat the Bears, sure, by 5, but it was still like Jalen Hurts took over. You have him as your MVP, and you did what any MVP should do, and that's take over a game. You know, he rushed for 3 touchdowns, or was it 2? Was it 3? I forget how many it was.
A lot.
Every touchdown, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
So Jalen Hurts did what he needed to do, and that's why they win.
And remember, Dallas Goedert 5-6 weeks ago, he was in the Kelsey debate. Like, not the debate, it wasn't a debate. It was saying like tight end has always been, you had Travis Kelsey and then George Kittle, and then you had the rest of the league. Like, they were different tiers of tight ends. Like, Travis Kelsey's in his own tier. They were saying Dallas Goedert is going to be in that tier, and then he went down with an injury. Well, he just got activated back onto the roster this week. So Philly is getting a huge, huge weapon back. They maybe, if they sit Hurts, they would sit Goodert as well. But the fact of the matter is when everybody on this team is healthy, this is going to be a lot of firepower.
Yeah.
They can win without one of the top 4 tight ends in the league. That's scary. That's scary.
Yeah. You got Alpha in the comments as a Texans fan. I hate y'all. top one in my heart.
Number 1 in my heart.
You guys, hey, here's the thing.
Our team sucked you.
Yeah, exactly. This is a credit I got to give to you guys for Texans. You guys got rid of a sexual predator because you guys have higher morals than the NFL in general, and you guys get the number 1 pick. You guys get the number 1 pick in the draft this year. So you guys are playing a lot of teams tough this year. So I got to give credit to the Texans.
Yeah, go buy your Trae Young jersey.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Anything else? I mean, top five. It's going to be debated all year. There's been very few. I think there's only one time we've had the same top 5, and I think that was a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a total whiff on the Bengals, but you're fine. Like,
Just consistent success on the Chiefs. Yeah, don't put them in the top 5. No.
They just. I mean, who would you take if it was Kansas City at Detroit next week?
Kansas City.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it'd be a good game. I'm intrigued.
This is one thing I will say. Yes, it would be a very, very good game. I think Jared Goff versus Patrick Mahomes would be pretty interesting, and especially with all the with what's happened in Detroit. Just interesting in general. What would happen? We just get bored of that success that the Kansas City Chiefs have had, and that's literally the problem about people trying to. Because what did you say?
Houston.
They almost did, yeah, sure. But this season has been really, really weird in terms of that, right? Here's the thing. We're tired of the same success. I forget preseason rankings or not rankings, but division winners. Did you have the Chiefs winning the West, or did you say like the Broncos or the Chargers or something like that?
I think it was going to be settled week 18 with the Broncos and the Chiefs.
What I mean, and this is kind of like I'm tooting my own horn here, but I'm saying what I said during that was like we're all trying to make arguments for these other 3 teams in the AFC West, but the Chiefs have done it consistently for the last 7 years that they've won the AFC West. Like it's just consistent success, and it's not going to change just because the other teams got better, at least in my opinion, because Patrick Mahomes is still there and he's going to be there until he's in his 40s. So, but that was preseason. That was preseason.
This is the last thing I will say, because you said it's week to week. You said that. Like if I had to pick a Super Bowl winner, Kansas City is above Detroit. But the fact of the matter is they haven't been playing. Denver, Houston, bad teams. Their last 3 games, they've given up 26.3 points per game in their last 3. The last team in the NFL on the season gives up 26.6. So they are literally in their last 3 games the same as the worst defense points per game in the NFL in the Cardinals. You can't give up 26.3 a game and stay in my top 5. You can be average and really good but you can't be really good and really bad because then you're just average again. Now Detroit is really good and average, so now they're just good. And until
Okay.
that changes for the Chiefs and they have a convincing win defensively, not just a 48-42 game, I'm talking about the playoffs. You're not going to beat the Bills and the Bengals with a defense that's one of the worst in the league, points per game. Those teams are going to – we saw it last year. Last year.
Yep. No, yeah, for sure. You're wrong, but yeah, for sure.
I have to make an argument at least, or I'm just going to be an insane person.
which you are. All right, let's finish off this episode of Only Football with some fantasy talk. It was playoff week for most of us, at least this past week. If not, you guys started early, then you start early. But I am in the playoffs. Kyle, are you in the playoffs?
No, I auto drafted.
That's the thing. I knew that. I just wanted to ask you.
So I know you know. I just wanted to see your face when you heard it again.
So I was able to win the first week of the playoffs. Luckily, right? And I think a big reason was because Josh Allen scored like 35 points for me. There's just a huge conundrum for me. Like this week, in order to get into the championship round, I have to win this week against the number 2 seed, against the number 1 seed in my division. I have Justin Fields starting over Josh Allen. I have Najee Harris, and I have Jerick McKinnon. I've got Stephon Diggs and Michael Pittman Jr., wide receiver. Freiermuth, a tight end. Jawan Johnson, a tight end. My flex. The Buffalo defense, and Evan McPherson is my kicker. What do you think?
Allen.
Do you think
start Josh
really?
Allen. Do not, if it's going to snow even a little bit, I would take Josh Allen over Fields probably.
But that's
hard.
That's what I mean. Because
I mean, Josh Allen, the Bills defense could, I'm going with Josh Allen in that. And also, you got Stephon Diggs, so you'll always get the double. It'll be a double when Josh Allen throws the touchdown to Diggs.
Yeah,
which is like one of those, not if when.
Well, but the thing that's kind of keeping me from starting Josh Allen is because of the weather that's going on in Chicago. And Alpha, you make a really good point here. Najee hasn't practiced yet. Be careful. Yes. The other one I have, running back, huh?
Where's Nick Chubb?
He's also questionable. And he's gotten me less points than Najee in the last 2 weeks. So it's like Chubb has been consistent pretty much all year, except when I need him the most, which is these 2 weeks in the playoffs. Now, I will say Chubb is questionable. The other running backs I have are J.K. Dobbins and Brian Robinson Jr. J.K. Dobbins looks like like I mentioned earlier, like he is struggling to get the yards that he's getting. So I'm like really wary on starting him. And like Alpha said, Chubb has a knee issue. It's not the best matchup.
It says it's a foot issue, but the Browns say they're so optimistic that he'll play. So if there's a knee thing going on too, it didn't make the injury report. It was listed as a foot. But I told this to another guy in the playoffs on a stream. I said, you can live with yourself if you get kicked out of the playoffs because your best players failed. I don't think you'll be able to live with yourself if Chubb does play and has a better game than Harris, if Allen does play and has a better game than Fields. If you get beat that way, I'd say that you're gonna not be able to live with yourself versus, I guess, but this is fantasy. You got to go with your gut here.
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing, man. I think Justin Fields might have a better rushing game than Josh Allen because I feel like Josh Allen can sling it in the snow, like you said, and Fields has 3 of his top receivers out. So it's like, what do I actually do here? I think I'm gonna go with Fields. He's probably gonna rush.
Allen's gonna run a lot.
They're both gonna run a lot, though. That's the internal issue I'm going with here. Like, who's gonna run
35
more?
Points last week. Stop being weird.
Yeah,
Put in Josh Allen. It snowed last week, and he had 35 points.
Did you win your matchup last week?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was
You're
gonna
out of
say,
the losing.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. All of the teams that missed the playoffs had more points than all you playoff losers.
They
We all
did.
had, there's like 140,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Yeah,
I'm
there
like,
is.
oh, good thing the best people got in.
What
Bitter.
Alpha saying?
I'm bitter.
Dobbins is facing the Atlanta defense, and they got no one else on that offense. I agree. Like, I actually might put him in other than in for either Najee or for no, not Jerick McKinnon, probably Najee. But it's like, God, like you said, Kyle, that Najee is probably he was my number one draft pick this year. And although he's not lived up to the hype at all, it's like you said, would I rather have Najee, my number one pick, fail me in the playoff game to get into a championship, or go with J.K. Dobbins, go with Justin Fields, something like that. A pick that doesn't necessarily make much sense in terms of who's the better player. But I don't know, man. That's kind of just a struggle I'm going with this week. You guys will definitely learn if I made it or not on Monday. But yeah.
I'm rolling with Derek Carr, Ramondre Stevenson, Kenneth Walker, Devontae Adams, CD Lamb, Greg Dulcich, flexing Alvin Kamara, and the Broncos defense and Young-Ho Koo. And yes, this is a team outside of the playoffs. I know it's a freaking anomaly.
Well, Deshaun Watson, whatever. That's fine.
I said Derek Carr.
Oh, you going with Derek Carr?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Derek Carr.
But, okay.
Yeah, you got Ramondre, Kenneth Walker, Kamara, Adams, CD Lamb. Like, what?
Yeah, no, I like that lineup.
This is a good team. I want to give you my lineup and see how far you can go.
You got Alpha. Oh no, you're starting Carr. Laughing my ass off. No wonder you didn't make it.
No, this is my first week starting him. This is my first week. I went with this.
Back. You've had the worst luck with a quarterback this year.
Everyone I started got hurt, like bad.
Yeah.
And then Tua got hurt the second time, and I dropped him because I thought he was never going to play football again. And he came back like 2 weeks later, and I was like, "Oh, that's just great.
Oh, okay, cool. I guess
was the score.
I guess we're just gonna be MVP candidates now. That's cool.
Yeah,
but yeah. So that's kind of how we're going. I am one game away from the championship game. Fun fact, though, we started this fantasy league 3 years ago. Kyle and I actually faced each other for the first ever championship game in this league. Kyle won. Unfortunately for me, fortunately for him, I guess. Boo.
The loser had to start a podcast with.
Yeah, the loser had to start a podcast with the winner, and here we are, and that is the birth of Only Football. So kidding. That's fun. Oh, we got Alpha right here. One of my best friends drafted Russ. The worst thing she ever did.
No one knew. No one knew this.
Biggest middle finger to Kyle, and I love every second of it.
We didn't know.
Oh, I love it. All right. Well, that's fantasy talk. Kyle, did you have anything else for today's show before we sign off?
No, that's all I got. Definitely, guys. Rick's got family in town. I don't this year, so I'll probably be doing a lot of the live streaming. So, guys, just so you know, you can always jump in on those live streams. Saturday is going to be our Sunday this week. So definitely Saturday will be a big day. And then Sunday, a Rams fan, a guy I work with, he is a big Rams fan. He's going to watch the Broncos-Rams game with me. Hopefully there's no bloodshed. Nice. Hopefully no one gets a black eye. But stay tuned for all that, and definitely some really cool shorts that will be uploaded to get you pumped for the games coming up.
What was his name? He joined you on Monday Night Football, right?
Yeah, his name's Temple.
Temple, man. That was fun. I was in the comments with a couple of the other people, and we were just making fun of Kyle, saying he looked like a thumb, and he had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, I hate you guys.
It was a good time, but hey, thank you guys for everyone for joining us. We got Alpha in the chat. We had JST in the chat. We had my uncle Tony in the chat. We had Liam earlier in the chat as well. Thank you guys all for joining us. Kyle and I here on Only Football, brought to you by Star 6 Media, and you could follow us at Star 6 Media, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, and Facebook. Pointing at the wrong thing, Kyle, but I'll allow it. And on Twitter at _ Star 6 Media. You can follow us there. And go check out the rest of our shows that we have on Star 6 Media. We have EAFP bringing you all the soccer news that you could want. JCA Sports, pretty much covering all sports news, in the national network, basketball, NBA, MLB, NHL, NFL, everything. We got Big League Chicago. I am the host of Big League Chicago, talking all things Chicago sports. Sports Strip Live, all your wrestling, MMA, boxing needs that you want. 3 Up, 3 Down, covering everything MLB and what's been going on in free agency. And Slot Shot Hockey Podcast, talking to everything NHL. So follow and listen to all those great shows that we have on Star 6 Media. Kyle, where can they find you on Twitter to see you tweet and, just be you on Twitter?
Yeah, find me at FTBL ONLY podcast, FTBL, like football only podcast. And yeah, I would say I'm getting pretty good at it. I'm getting people that follow me now. I don't know why. I'm assuming that they like the content I'm putting out. So maybe join this group of people that somehow appreciate the work and dedication I'm putting into these videos, and pick up Cam Akers because he's a free agent.
Fantasy advice from someone who's not in the playoffs. And you can follow me at And Now Rick on Twitter. I usually like to live tweet Bears games, even when they just suck. But catch me live tweeting Bears games, big news in the NFL, all over sports, really big signings, all that good stuff. But Kyle, always a good time, man. And I will see you next time.
All right, see ya.
See ya.